In his letters to the Galatians and Colossians, Paul addresses problems that concern both Jewish and Gentile Christians. They include an unusual mixing of Gnostic, Gentile, pagan ideas and Old Covenant Jewish Torah observance. Paul calls these Stickia to Cosmo, which is variously translated as spirit forces or elementary principles of this world. This heresy for the Jews appeared in the form of continued observance to Old Covenant systems like the food laws and the Jewish calendar. In Colossians chapter 2 and Galatians chapter 4, Paul warns, "Let no one disturb you about what you eat, drink, or in respect of a feast day, or a new moon, or a Sabbath day." So now that you know God, or should I say, now that God knows you, why do you want to go back again and become slaves once more to the weak and useless elementary principles of this world? You observe days and months and seasons and years. Therefore, if you died with Christ, who has set you free from the elementary principles of this world, why do you keep on following the rules of the world, such as do not handle, do not taste, do not touch? The Theological Dictionary of the New Testament says that it's thus impossible for the Christian to desire to keep the laws and demands of these elements, so that the Christian community is definitely freed from the Sabbath commandment, no matter whether this is based on the supposed necessity of the law to salvation or on the controlling power of cosmic forces, that is, the elementary principles of the world. In an essay called Returning to the Domain of Powers, the author rightly says that for Paul, the Stickia, the elementary principles, were an integral part of the present evil age and used a variety of means to hold humanity in bondage and blind people to the revelation of Jesus Christ as proclaimed in the gospel. For Gentiles, they accomplished their objective through posing as gods and goddesses and soliciting cultic worship. For Jews, they were associated with the law in the same way as the power of sin and were agents of slavery under the Old Covenant. Now, in spite of the fact that the Galatian Gentiles know Christ, Paul fears that by acceding to the demands of the Judaizing opponents, they would return to the domain of the powers. By embracing Torah, the Galatians were returning to the powers of the old eon or age, which would bring them under a yoke of slavery once again and cause them to forfeit their freedom in Christ.